Welcome to the With You Rugby podcast, designed to give you an in-depth look at the United States Rugby Foundation, including our grant programs and recipients, fundraisers, events, and much more. Now let's get started. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Vizard, President of the United States Rugby Foundation. And as we get closer to our 2022 U.S. Rugby Hall of Fame induction ceremony presented by the Rugbytown National Training Center, we thought it'd be a pretty good idea to get to know this year's inductees and special award recipients just a little bit better. And today we welcome in former Chicago Lions great and former USA 15s and 7-star and a 2022 U.S. Rugby Hall of Fame inductee, Philip Eloff. Welcome, Philip.
Thank you, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
So, Philip, where are you calling from? Is it Houston still, or where are you?
Yes, sir. I'm still in Houston, actually at work in the office, but now very fortunate to be on this call and glad I can speak to you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And Houston getting ready for the French Barbarians coming soon?
That's right. We are getting ready for that this weekend. And this past weekend was the SaberCats playoff game against Seattle. So went to that game as well. Unfortunately, Houston took a loss on that one, but it was a good game.
All right, well, hopefully the Eagles can turn back the French Barbarians, get them ready for Chile. So we're looking forward to that.
I tell you, if it's the same heat, the French are going to have a hard time.
Well, that's good. That's good, right?
Yes, sir. That's why it's here.
Hey, Philip, let's start at the beginning. You grew up in South Africa. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing there, and at what age did you start playing rugby?
Yeah, so I grew up in a very small farming town in South Africa called Northam. It's about 2.5 hours north of Johannesburg. If you know the Bushveld, it's right center in the Bushveld. But small town, 2,000 people. And I started like any other South African kid, 5 to 6 years old, playing in the backyard. And the only time we really stopped was if somebody got hurt or it started becoming dark. But didn't officially start to play until I was about 8 years old in primary school. Played wing for most of the primary school, and then went to boarding school when I was 13. And that's where I really excelled at rugby, and went through the age groups. And it was when I transitioned over to center and made the first team when I was 16 years old, and also earned my provincial colors and played in the Craven Week in my final year.
Nice. Did you play other sports, or was it just rugby?
Well, we all had to do athletics, and short distances was my forte, if you can call it that, and a long jump especially as well. And I did earn 4th in the country when I was 13, and then also my mom forced me to do some cross-country running as well. So I did that. And then my second sport in high school was cricket. I didn't really excel at it, but I did play on the second team and loved it. It was so much fun.
Well, before we get to your time in the States, I think you got the nickname Taboo while you're in South Africa. Tell us a little bit how you got that, and what does Taboo mean?
Yeah, so it's a nickname I got from the lady that worked with us on the farm. She also gave my dad a nickname when he was little, and his nickname is Pula, which means rain, and she gave me the nickname Tabu, which means happiness. So I must have been a very happy baby. But I did, when I first moved to the States, my uncle that lived here said, you can't go by Tabu because it means forbidden here. So I went by Philip when I first came here, and then when I had some friends come over, they said, no, it's not Philip, it's Tabu. So then it kind of stuck.
All right, well, good. Well, let's talk about you coming to America. When did you come to the States, and what was the main reason for coming here?
Yeah, so I was 18. It was mandatory for us to go to the military after high school. And so when I was finishing my high school, it wasn't anymore, and we didn't really know what to do. So I had a coach that coached me in South Africa that was coming over to coach Houston, and he asked was 3 of us in the beginning to come out and play. So we decided, well, why not? It seems like it'll be since we didn't have anything else to do, it will be a great opportunity to come to the US and play rugby and see the country. And so that's how I came over.
And what was the team you played for in Houston? And tell us a little bit about the time when you were playing there.
Yeah, so it was the Houston Rugby Club. They later became Hark, as you know. And my first impression was just how nice and welcoming everybody was. The president at the time, Ed Brown, I mean, he really put us up and made us feel very welcome, and the players as well. And there was a lot of South Africans on the team, I have to say, so it kind of felt like being at home anyway. But it wasn't good for my English because my English was terrible, and I really needed to get better at that. And so I stayed with some American guys, and they really took me in, and it was a great experience. Nothing like going to South Padre Island for spring break to get you used to English and the culture. But we had a good season that first season. I was only here for one season, and we kind of came in the halfway through the season anyway. And then Ed Brown, the president, put me in contact with Chicago at the time to go over there because they were just starting their season. I was only here for about 4 months, but it was a good time while I was here.
Okay. So you went to Chicago. You're attending Northeastern Illinois University. And did you play there and also play with the Chicago Lions same time?
Yeah, so Northeastern didn't have a rugby team. And the whole reason why I came to Chicago initially was to play and just get to see another city. But then I went back to South Africa to get my visa sorted out, and I was going to come back, play for the Lions, and go to university, and they helped me pay for my school. So I didn't get to experience the whole college rugby, but I did later on, at least through the coaching standpoint, did experience it.
Right. So you had great success with the Lions. What were some of your fondest memories playing for the Lions?
Well, some of my best memories, to be honest. The Lions are like family to me. Played with some very talented players, and pretty much everything that I've accomplished and who I am today had to do with being part of that organization. And it was a great experience. I was there for about 10 years playing, and made some great friends, and also had some great tours and played in some very tough games. And it really is where I felt home outside of South Africa. So it was a great experience for me.
Yeah, when I first started in Michigan, I mean, the Lions were like the team back in the Midwest, and
yeah,
always a team to look up to and aspire to. So yeah, I mean, they're still going strong. I mean, hats off to them. They're still doing a great job.
Yeah, they're still. I mean, obviously a lot of things have changed now with the MLR, but
Right.
they have a great facility, and they're really doing a lot for youth rugby. So it's a great organization.
Now, you were part of the Lions that went to the Super League Championship match 2006. You got beat in the final. Well, the team did, but unfortunately, you weren't a part of it. How disappointing was that watching that final?
Yeah, we played we played Belmont Shore in that final, and I had a great season up to the game before the final, and broke my ankle, and it was very disappointing. And I felt like I let the team down in some ways, but they did go into that final, and they played in San Diego at Ombucks Field, actually.
Yeah.
And lost 27-21 and was actually leading until the 70th minute. And then Herkes put through a grubber, and it hit the upright and bounced straight back into the Belmont Shore player's hand, and they scored. And it kind of turned the momentum of the game. And then with Henry Bloomfield running off the base of the rucks and scrums, it was just at that point, they're kind of starting to dominate a little bit. So it was a good game until the 70th minute for me anyway. But it was good that we were there, and I actually flew in on crutches, and was able to at least see the game from the sideline.
Yeah. Now, your time with the Lions pretty much mirrored your time with the national team. You were in 35 caps for the Eagles 15 team, played in 2 Rugby World Cups. Your first was in 2003 in Australia. What was a fond memory or two from your World Cup campaign in Australia?
Yeah, 2003 World Cup was a great memory for me, and it was tough getting there. We had to qualify. We had to go through the repechage round, and we had to beat Spain, and we did, and we got through. But I did feel that our team for that 2003 squad was really strong. We had some great players, great coaching staff, and we just felt focused and ready to play. So going into that World Cup, I felt like we could really compete in our pool. And so our first game is against Fiji, and we lost by 1 point. And Mike Herkes had a kick to win the game, a conversion, and I was standing right behind him. And as he kicked, I thought, "Man, this is going over." And at just the last few meters, it just drifted right, and we ended up losing that game. But it was a very close game, and I thought we played very well. We didn't play so well after that against Scotland, and Coach Billups made us aware of that. And then we went into that Japan game really focused and played our butts off, and we won that game, which was a very proud moment. And I was able to actually score in that game, which made it even more special. But that was probably my fondest memory from that 2003 World Cup in Australia.
Coach Billups will be at the Hall of Fame event, so you get to share that memory with him.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of respect for Coach Billups, and yeah, he's one of the best coaches I've had. So I always look forward to seeing him.
Yeah. Now you also played in the 2007 Rugby World Cup in Europe. What do you recall from that experience?
Well, that was a tough one. We as a team went into that probably not as prepared as what we were in 2003, but we had a strong team. We had some really good players on that team as well. And I was just coming off a broken ankle. I broke my ankle in January of that year.
Was this a different break?
Yeah. The other one was ACL, but this was I broke my ankle, and I didn't know if I was going to make that squad. But I thought to myself, I have 6 months to get back, and so just put in the work. But I had a setback. I had got an infection, and that put me back about a month. And I didn't make the first game. I didn't make that team, and then the second game I came off the bench against Tonga, and then we played against the next game. Who was that? That was probably South Africa. Was our last game, which was my fondest memory of that World Cup. But at Tonga and then Samoa in the third game, and those games are always physical, as you know, and so we got pretty beat up, but it was close. I only lost by 4 points against Samoa, which I felt that could have gone either way. And like I said, the last game was against South Africa, against a team that pretty much won the World Cup that year. And it was absolutely amazing for me to play against South Africa. I played them in 2001 back in Houston, and that was special too. But playing them in the World Cup against those caliber of players were really special. And I actually played against a friend of mine that I played in high school with, and he was on the team, so that was special too. Yeah.
Is that the game that Z had that great try against Havana?
Yes, it sure was. What a thrilling moment that was. I know that they keep showing that, but it was really special to be on the field to witness that. And I was just talking to the guys this past weekend about that try that he scored. That I was talking with Habana after the game, and he couldn't believe that he got stepped on the outside and beaten. But yeah, Ngwenya was one of the players that I just saw grow so much, and it was amazing to see that what he ended up going on and doing overseas as well.
Yeah, I was at that game too, Montpellier, if I'm not mistaken. That was a great town. That was a fantastic venue. What great atmosphere it was for that game.
Yes, no, being in France for that was great. Australia was nice too, but I really enjoyed France, being there, and especially in the south of France was really, really special.
Now, you scored 10 tries for the Eagles, 15s during your career. Is there one that stands out over the rest?
Yeah, that World Cup try against Japan in 2003 was definitely the most special.
Walk us through it. What happened?
Yeah, well, we were it was phase ball, and you know, and I'll probably speak about this a little bit, but I always felt like I connected with Mike Hurkis on the field, just kind of knowing situational play and what I was going to do. So I always felt that I have a good chance of beating somebody on the outside. And he put a perfect ball in phase play, and let me just drift across a little bit to get on the outside of the outside center. And I was able to get around him, and then there was the wing and the fullback to beat, and I was able to step inside the wing and then get around the fullback too. So it was quite a run, probably from halfway, but I was able to score under the post, and we got the conversion as well. So that kind of stretched the lead a little bit. That made us feel like we were in control of the game.
Cool. Now, you also played for the U.S. Sevens team at the 2005 Rugby World Cup. Did you play much sevens during your career?
I did. Well, I played pretty much all of the time for the Lions. Every year I was there, I played sevens. And then I was also invited to Atlantis for 2 tours. And then for the US Sevens, I only played a few pre-World Cup games, warm-up games, and then went into the 2005 World Cup.
And where was that? Where was that tournament?
So that was in Hong Kong, and it was a great World Cup. I mean, Hong Kong, and nobody, if you ever want to go and experience something special, Hong Kong, the sevens in Hong Kong is amazing. And I played the first 2 games there for the US, and we had a tough pool. We had New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, Tonga, and South Korea, and played the first 2 games, and then I got hurt in the 3rd game, and wasn't able to continue. But we had a strong team, and I look back at the names on that team, and we had Magleby, Kevin Witcher, Rian van Zyl, Mosi, Mike Palafel. So that's some great players. And they lost in the I think it was the plate round against Georgia, but we lost. But we had Tietjens as our coach. Oh, yeah. So I mean, the amount of things I learned from that guy was just amazing in a short period of time. And so that was and then being in Hong Kong was special. So
great place. Yeah. Now, what'd you like better, 15s or 7s?
Yeah, I like 7s because you have more space, but my goodness, 15 is kind of my passion, and the fitness that goes with 7s made it not really my forte. It's a lot of work in 7s for fitness.
Yeah, what were 1 or 2 of your favorite memories with the Eagles outside of the World Cups?
Well, we had some great tours. I mean, we went to Fiji, and what a beautiful place to visit. And we had a tough game down there against them in some very bad weather, but ended up winning that game. And it was just a great place to be, beautiful. We got a few days off to experience some of the people and the beautiful scenery. So it was a special place for me to go to, because I later on would go back there to, with a friend of mine, a girlfriend at the time, and we got engaged. So that was a special place. And then also the other one was, I would say, probably having to qualify for the 2003 World Cup, that repechage round that we had to go through, the tough games we had to play to get there, and just the team bonding together and coming together, and under Coach Billups' leadership, and us getting through that really tough time was incredible, and it was special being part of that, for sure. Yeah.
The pressure was on, right? 1 loss, you're done.
Yes, it sure was, and you felt it everywhere you go and every game you played.
I bet. Who was your most difficult opposite to play against, and why?
I played against some greats, Scott Gibbs, O'Driscoll, um, Liebenberg that played for France, scored 3 tries against us. And then Twiggy Mala. I think the guy that tackled me the hardest was Twiggy Mala. I have a great story where, we're running crash balls and he just eating me up. And at some point during the game, I told John, my inside center, that I need to come off. My shoulder is off. And he's like, "Come on, but tackle with the other shoulder." All right, John.
That's all you got to do.
Going. I'll keep going.
That's
But
funny.
I would say O'Driscoll. He just seemed like he was on a different level than
Yeah.
what we were, and his awareness and angles of running and manipulation of our defensive structure was just amazing, and it was very hard to defend.
Now, what was the best team you ever faced?
It's probably that South Africa team in 2007. I mean, they had the upper hand in pretty much all aspects of the game for about 90% of the time. And I just remember running a crash line, and I'm just thinking to myself as I'm catching the ball, how is it that Matt Field and John Smith is in the centers waiting for me?
Right.
And as I was on the ground trying to catch my breath, I just remember Matt Field saying, "Wrong channel, but."
That's pretty good. Did you play with a lot of those guys you said growing up?
Yeah.
Or no?
Not a lot of them, but some of them. And I mean, they were all kind of people that I looked up to, and it was great to be able to play against them, but they were dominant. That 2017 was pretty dominant.
Did Bakis Bota play in that game too then? I mean, that must have been pretty intimidating if they're together out there.
Yeah, luckily not.
Okay.
I think they rested him. But yeah, I wouldn't go into a loose mall without looking where Bucky's is.
Who were 2 or 3 teammates that you really enjoyed playing with?
Well, geez, I played with some great guys, especially the American players. I have a lot of respect for them because they pick up the game a lot later than what we do, and then they seem to excel at it at such a fast pace and excel. I'm just thinking of Dan Lyle and Paul Emmerich and Luke Gross and some of the guys back from the Lions, Jeremy Nash. Those guys. I really were respectful of that, and that they were able to do that and do what they have done. And so, they are definitely up there. But I also think Mike Herkes, the time I played with him was special because, like I said before, we connected, and I felt like we were on the same page most of the time. And so he was an amazing player anyway, and was always able to draw the defense and create some space for us, which was just amazing. And then sometimes if they didn't commit to that, he would just take that gap, which was just crazy to see. And then Jean Grobler, when I first started, he was the center, and he was tough as nails on the field, and kind of took me under my wing and showed me the way, and made me feel very welcome. So I enjoyed playing on and off the field. He was a great friend and a rugby teammate.
Who'd you play most of your games in the midfield with Eagles? Was it Emmerich or who was it?
At the end was mostly Emmerich, but I did play a lot of game with Kane Cross. I don't know if you remember Kane.
Yeah.
It was during the 2003, and then Vaha. I played some games with Vaha as well, and then closer to the end it was Emmerich. I wish we had played more games together. Man, he's an amazing rugby player, and I think that would have been special if I were to play more games with him.
Yeah. Well, after your playing days, you transitioned to coaching, helping Davenport University in my hometown, Grand Rapids, Michigan. The back-to-back D1A national titles. Did you enjoy that experience coaching the college kids?
Yes, no, absolutely. Kruger Van Biljon was the coach there, and he had asked me to come and play, and coach the back line. And I was in Chicago at the time, so I had to commute. But the special thing is Kruger is one of my best friends, and then also my brother was going to come play there as well. So at the time, it was I really felt like I needed to be there and experience that with him. And then being in that organization where you had a varsity program for rugby was an amazing experience where we pretty much had those players all the time, and we could train and do so many different things, which really made a big difference. And doing that with Krier, my good friend, and then JP, was very special, and I really enjoyed every minute of that.
How'd you like Grand Rapids?
It was good. It was cold in the winter, mate, but yeah, a lot of snow.
Yeah, I spent
And
25 years there, so I know all about that.
yes, sir. And then, mate, being on the fields there and having to scrub off all the snow, and it was. But that was part of it, and the players, really got it. That's how you kind of get that culture under the belt, and everybody pitches in, and we won those 2 championships, and it was back to back, and I think, yeah, it was once in California, and I can't remember the other time, but we played some good opposition in those final games, and it was good to get a win there, and especially with the team we had.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of JP, how proud of you were you when JP got selected for the Eagles?
Yeah, no, I was very proud of him, and it was just amazing to share that moment with him because, family is far. I didn't see JP for the first. I moved here pretty much to the US when I was 8 years old, when he was eight years old, and so I didn't spend much time with him growing up and seeing him play in South Africa. But when he moved here and I was able to share all those memories, it was very special. And he excelled in his own right. Very talented player, a lot of skill, maybe more skill than I had. But it was great to be there and give be there when he got his first cap, for sure.
Of all your rugby memories, is there one that stands out above the rest?
I got a few injuries, and I think that every time you get down on yourself and you get depressed and you're injured, and it's just getting back and having that people around you, family, especially. And you think about the people that are with you, the medical staff, the physical therapists, the trainers, that immediately get you back and work with you and get you back to playing. That to me was always very special because it was, they kind of see you at your lowest and your highest moments, and having them be there and help me get through those times, I will always be grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. And of all the rugby tours you've taken, Eagles or otherwise, what was your favorite and why?
Well, we had a tour to Ireland in 1999 with the Chicago Lions, and that was probably my most epic tour. We played 3 club teams there, and the last game was against Omar, which is Bobby Bloomfield, he became the president of the Chicago Lions. It was his old club, and it was a typical game in wet and cold conditions, and we ended up scoring in the last few minutes to win that game, and it was a very proud moment for all of us, and we had a good time just enjoying the Irish, being there in Ireland and seeing everything. It was my first time, and then playing some quality rugby, and we had a great bunch of guys on that tour. I think we had like 45 guys, and so you had everybody from the Lions there, and it was and we had a few Guinnesses, and it was just a good time off the field as well.
How old are you now?
I'm 40. We'll be 44 this year.
Still playing at all? You still get out there for a little run?
Geez, Brian, I've had my fair share of injuries, and I don't think I need any more. So I'm kind of try to stay off. It's hard because whenever I go and maybe help out a little bit here and there with some coaching, you kind of run around, and it feels good playing touchies and so forth. But I mostly try to limit myself and not get too go out too hard out there because the injuries has been quite a few, and I don't want to do any of that over again. So, obviously miss it a lot though.
Yeah. Now, looking back on your career, what are you most proud of?
I'm probably representing the U.S. and my family and the coaches and some of my friends playing at the highest level, and I got to see a lot of the world. I don't think I would have had those opportunities if it wasn't for rugby, and I met some amazing people doing it. So that is I'm very proud of competing at that level, but also just being able to get out there and travel and see the world and meet some amazing people.
And finally, last question: what does it mean being selected to the U.S. Rugby Hall of Fame?
Well, it's a big honor, and I'm humbled to be named among some of the great USA rugby players. It's a reminder to me just how much rugby has done for me and meant for me personally, and some of the great friends that I've made. And it also reminds me to give back. And I think I said it when I was with you guys here in Houston. It's important to give back, and I've been away from rugby for a little bit just because I'm trying to concentrate on my career, and but you miss it, and you want to, whenever you meet a bunch of guys like yourself and all the guys from the foundation, you just feel like it's important to give back, and being part of that special group of players definitely reminds me of that.
Well, it's a great class. You fully deserve to be there, Tabu, and congratulations on a wonderful career on and off the rugby field, and look forward to seeing you in Denver next month.
Thanks, Brian. No, I appreciate it, and I very much look forward to seeing you out there.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of our With You podcast. Stick around. We're going to have more as we get closer to our U.S. Rugby Hall of Fame induction ceremony presented by the Rugbytown National Training Center. If you want more information about the U.S. Rugby Foundation, go to our homepage at usrugbyfoundation.org. If you want to find out more about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony or the Hall of Fame weekend, go to usrugbyfoundation.org/Hall of Fame. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.